Fear and I made our way back to the main area. The others were still there. I assumed that they went over a briefing of sorts, as they were huddled over a blueprint of what must have been Seeker HQ. Pete was the first to acknowledge our return.
Welcome back, agents. Is your mother alright?
Pete asked as he looked at me. I nodded. She's doing fine, I replied. Out of respect, Pete didn't inquire further about the conversation with my mother. Instead, he turned his attention back to the blueprint.
Now that you're both here, we can continue with the planning.
Fear and I walked over to the group and observed the blueprint. The others were focused onto the schematics that divided into the sewage system, the main level, and the rooftop. I looked up at Pete for some clarification. He got the hint and spoke.
While you were gone, we've been discussing the best strategy for our operation. As you can see, we focused our attention on 3 main areas. Our plan is to split into 3 teams to divert the Phantom's attention to various locations, keeping them off balance. The infiltration team will go through the sewage system and get into the interrogation rooms. If we're lucky, that's where they'll be keeping Agent Moore and any other survivors.
I swallowed hard as I took in the information. Pete then looked at me.
You, along with Agents Claire, Fear, and Arrow, will make up the infiltration team. Agent Arrow will be in charge.
Said person nodded in understanding.
The next team will be in charge of setting up explosives. They'll be coming in from the roof and will make their way to the rooftops and set up explosives along the way. We'll have to find more volunteers for that. As for the last team, it will be for distraction on the main level. The team will consist of me, Agent Cyan, and any other capable Seeker agents we can find. Are there any questions?
Agent Claire spoke out.
Sir, if the Phantoms have taken control of HQ, then wouldn't that mean that they have full access to our security measures and will easily detect us?
A hint of a smile tugged on the head warrior's face.
That is a good reason for concern. However, the Phantoms don't know all of our secrets. Agent Gizmo left us a schematic of all the accessible circuit breakers in the building that will temporarily disable the measures that the Seeker systems have in place. There is a time limit though. We'll only have an hour before the backup generator goes out, and the Phantoms realize that something is amiss.
Silence filled the room as each of us was absorbed in our own thoughts. Abruptly, an alert pinged from Olsen's phone, and he took it out. His eyes widened in disbelief.
Pete, I'm getting an incoming transmission from surviving Seeker agents. They're holding out in an abandoned storage warehouse. However, it seems like they're being attacked by Phantom forces. I'm sending all of you the coordinates.
Pete automatically turned to me, Fear, and Agent Kian.
You 3 go over and assist them. We need as many survivors as we can get. The rest of you, secure this location. I don't want us getting ambushed by the Phantoms.
All of us nodded our heads. Fear, Agent Kian, and I ran out of the room. We got into the van from earlier and sped away. According to the coordinates, the surviving Seeker agents were just south of the Limit River that spread through the city. Agent Kian was a mean driver as he scared the other drivers with his insane skills. What normally would have been a half-hour drive took just over 10 minutes. We arrived at the abandoned warehouse. However, it was suspiciously quiet. There was no sound at all, no evidence to suggest that there was a struggle. Suddenly, a lone figure came running out of the warehouse, and as soon as he saw our small group, he booked it towards us.
"Get down!"
he yelled. Just as he finished speaking, the whole warehouse exploded as glass shards and other materials flew everywhere. The man got caught in the explosion and was thrown several feet forward. As he landed, a nasty-sounding crunch resonated from his spot, and he went absolutely still. Fear, Agent Kian, and I took cover behind the van as some of the materials flew past us. Once the rumbling passed, I exposed myself from the safety of the van and ran towards the still body. I ran to his body and flipped him on his back. Blood dripped down his forehead, and his eyes stared blankly at the sky. To be certain, I pressed a finger on his neck and counted up to 10 seconds. When no heartbeat made itself present, I dropped my hand to the side and sighed heavily. Damn it, I thought. My other partners ran over to my position. I glanced up at them and shook my head. They looked back at me and nodded their understanding. Agent Kian went towards the debris, while Fear stayed behind with me. The rough and distinguishable voice of Agent Kian then broke through the thick smoke.
I found a survivor,
he yelled. Both Fear and I ran over to where he was, and surely enough, there was a body half buried underneath the rubble. All three of us worked quickly to remove the debris, and pulled the seeker agent out. I checked his neck, and was relieved to find a faint pulse. I looked over the dirt-stained face. He was unconscious, but alive. Fear, get the van ready! Agent Kian, grab him and let's move! I ordered. Both men did as they were told, and I sped-walked back to the van. I opened the door wide enough for Agent Kian to place the limp body of the seeker agent into the back seat. We both got in, and Fear drove us back to our momentary base of operations. As soon as we arrived, we hurriedly brought the unconscious survivor to the back. When the others saw us, they were, needless to say, surprised. However, they didn't waste time on questions, and instead focused on evaluating the well-being of the survivor. Agent Arrow scanned him effectively from head to toe with a biometric scanner. The tension in his shoulders dissipated as he put away the device.
Just a mild concussion. Nothing that bad rust won't cure.
It seemed that the tension in the atmosphere was driven away with the good news. As if remembering our initial reason for going to the warehouse, Pete turned his attention to us.
What happened?
He simply asked. Agent Kian and Fear looked at me. Inwardly I sighed, but on the outside I remained professional. As soon as we arrived, we saw a seeker agent run out of the building. Immediately after that, the whole place went up in flames. He didn't make it. I hung my head down momentarily in respect. The head warrior's eyes went soft.
I'm sorry to hear,
he said. I nodded and continued. We found him in the rubble. Hopefully he'll be of use to us when he wakes up. I pointed to the unconscious seeker agent. In all honesty, it seems like this was a setup. Pete's eyes hardened at the possibility.
We've wasted enough time as it is. We'll leave for New York within the hour.